I would like to propose something that I would like to begin the Bring Mike McDaniel to Detroit to be their offensive coordinator campaign. Get me in touch with Sheila, get me in touch with Dan, with Brad, get me in touch with Barry Sanders, get me in touch with whoever. We are going to make this offense great again. We are going to bring in Mike McDaniel, and he is going to fix all of our offensive woes. I will just say this. Unless he gets a head coaching job, we have to get this guy. If he gets an offensive coordinator job that's not in Detroit, it will be an immediate strike on Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell for not bringing this guy in. Like, if you gave him a reasonable offer, I guess we'll never know these things. But if he's somewhere else as the offensive coordinator, I'm not going to be happy. I just can't. He is the perfect. He was the guy that people were saying, and I was like, well, I don't know. It seemed like Miami's going to keep him, but he is the perfect fit. Now, for those of you who maybe are a little skeptical because you watched Miami last year and their offense was poo-poo. They were not very good. And Tua has only gotten worse since he was their head coach. Well, I guess minus the couple of years that he was there when Tua was really good stat-wise, but we'll get to that. And all the, not playing in the cold. Okay. I've got some stats for you for the offenses that this guy has been either the coordinator of or the head coach running the offense, namely in Miami when he was calling plays. So in 2021, he was the offensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers that year were 7th in yards per game, 13th in points per game, 12th in passing yards per game, and 7th in rushing yards per game. Pretty good. Not amazing. Not blowing you out of the water by any stretch, but pretty good, right? Okay. So he, in 22, I believe, takes over that job in Miami. Let me get those numbers for you. In 22, Miami is 6th in yards per game. Lions, by the way, were just 2 positions ahead of them. That was the first year of Ben Johnson as the coordinator in that stat. In passing yards per game, the Dolphins were 4th that year. In rushing yards per game, let me see if I can find that. The Dolphins were actually not very good. We're not going to talk about that. They did not have the backs at that point. And in points per game, they were, where are they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They were 11th. So outside of the rushing games in the first year of 2022, they were pretty good. Now, 2023 was when they really started going crazy. So 23, they are 2nd in the league in points per game. In rushing yards per game, they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th, just behind the Lions in rushing yards per game. In passing yards per game, they are number 1 in the NFL. This is 2023, by the way. In total yards per game, they are also number 1. Let's go to 2024. 2024, the Dolphins in total yards per game, that a little bit of a drop-off. No doubt about it. Passing yards per game, however, also a drop-off. Okay, wait a minute. Hold on. I'm not making my case here. Hold on. Wait a minute. I was supposed to lie to you to make you believe. This is okay. Look, you know what? 24 wasn't his year. But 22 and 23, it was good. And 24, he had some injuries, there was some stuff. But 22, 24, at least he's got about a 3-year stretch, all right, where offensively, the numbers where he was ranking compared to other teams was very, very high. And yes, this may also be true, but also I'm pretty sure Tua was getting hurt that year as well. Wasn't that the concussion year? Wasn't that the year where he got concussed 100 times? Or maybe that was 22 or 21. I don't remember. Either way, all of that notwithstanding, he has the exact mindset. And he has been, when he is at his peak, when he has the players and the personnel to utilize, he can make your offense electric. And mind you, in those peak years in 23 and 22, he was very close, if not better in some categories than Ben Johnson was. In points per game in 23, that was Ben Johnson's, I would say, his real coming out party as one of the top coordinators. He was better than him in points per game. He was one spot below him in rushing yards per game. He was better than him in passing yards per game. In overall yards per game, he was better. So I'm not saying that he would necessarily be like an absolute upgrade over Ben Johnson. He was technically only an offensive coordinator one time, which was under the 49ers, and we already gave the numbers the Niners had that year. But you got to think, that season he's working with Jimmy Garoppolo as his quarterback. I don't think they had Christian McCaffrey to that point, or at least not for the whole year. He's going to be coming into a situation here in Detroit where he's going to have an offense with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jameson Williams, a potentially rising Isaac Tesla. You also got to consider Sam Laporta coming back healthy. Even Brock Wright has some use in this offense. That's not even to mention David Montgomery. Granted, he's kind of aging out, and he would say, and also we saw that his usage was diminished from what it was. But frankly, I think he's going to bring that usage back based on what he did with Raheem Mostert down in Miami just a couple seasons ago. With all of that being said, he is far and away the most plausible and best candidate for offensive coordinator. Because as much as I would love Kevin Stefanski, it's probably not going to happen because Kevin Stefanski is clearly good enough to be a head coach. At the very least, with McDaniel, you could say, well, maybe some teams are a little weary based on his tenure in Miami as head coach. Maybe he is more of a coordinator. They're not necessarily going to throw the bag at him, especially with the last couple of seasons being pretty big disappointments and the fact that he didn't do much in the postseason as the head coach. Is Brock Wright still under contract in 26? Let me actually look that up. That's a good point. Brock Wright contract. I think he is. He signed a 3-year deal in 24. So yes. Let me see. When does that end? Yes. It'll be his final season. Will be this one. Will be this upcoming 2026. Where he will be a unrestricted free agent. So he's got one more year. We got one more year of Brock Wright. Anyway, that regardless, this offense has a lot of weapons. And I was saying, and many very smart people have been saying, it wasn't simply personnel that was the problem, although personnel obviously was a problem, especially in the interior of your offensive line. It was scheme. You weren't responding to the lack of personnel. You weren't putting the guys that were in there in spots where they are going to be able to succeed. He is this guy, Mike McDaniel. He will put your guys in spots where they can succeed. It's a very similar kind of offense that he had in San Francisco and in Miami. You have J-Mo to take the top off like Tyreek Hill. You have your Jalen Waddle equivalent and Amon-Ra. You have your two-headed running monster, with Mostert and who's the other guy whose name escapes me down in Miami. Whatever. They had two running backs in I think it was 2023. But you had now you got Dave Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. It is like as perfect as it can be. So all of that being said, Dan, I know they just interviewed us. So look, I'm not right now. They're going for it. So I'm not saying that they're Achan. Thank you, Devin Achan or Devon, whatever. Achan was his name. Thank you. They obviously are interested. They interviewed him for the position. So at a certain point, it's up to McDaniel to want to take the position, as well as the fact that the Lions have to give him a good enough offer. You certainly can't lowball him. You should desire to make him the highest paid coordinator because you have to get this coaching pick right. Dan Campbell, when he initially came in, he brought in Anthony Lynn to run his offense. That didn't work. He then promoted Ben Johnson. That did work. Then when Ben Johnson left, he brought in John Morton. That didn't work. So he's 1 for 2 in terms of his, or 1 for 3 in terms of his offensive coordinator success rate, which is crazy to think about given how good the Lions' offense has been, even with the handicap of having John Morton in the offense. Lions' offense still ranked out pretty highly on the year in terms of total stats, but obviously watch the games. Their offense was simply not that good. All of this is to say, if you can bring this guy in, if he is telling you, I'm interested, I want to do this, I want to be a part of a winning culture, I want to like build back my resume, maybe people are down on me from the Miami tenure, this is the place where he can do it. So, Brad, Dan, you have to make this happen. You truly do. Like, I don't see any other option, or I don't see any other coordinator or coach out there that I'm like, yeah, I think he would fit. Like, maybe you think of Brian Daboll, Kevin Stefanski, but even with those guys, Stefanski is probably a head coach, and Daboll, I just don't think his offensive scheme is going to fit here. He was the coordinator for Josh Allen, and I like Jared Goff. He's not Josh Allen. Okay, it's just not going to happen. And John Harbaugh is not coming here to be a coordinator. So I saw somebody, and we'll talk about it in a little bit. I saw somebody like, oh, hey, do you think Tomlin would come here and be? No, I don't. I think he will not. Anyway. So I'm circling. I'm speaking in circles here a little bit, but go out there. Bring Mike McDaniel to Detroit. We are going. This is our campaign. This is the Bring Mike McDaniel to Detroit fan club. And I don't just like him just because his name is Mike, although that is obviously us Mikes got to stick together. But he would be the perfect hire. Like, truly. Like, I think everyone universally, the vibes right now for Lions fans are very low. People are very negative on the team, and I understand why. This, I think, would significantly boost the vibes for fans. I think, and I know you don't win championships in the offseason, but right now fans need their faith to be rekindled in this organization. And if you can land this, I think that'll certainly help myself regain some of the faith. I think it'll help a lot of fans as well. So make it happen, Dan. I don't know if he's still when they did the interview, maybe they locked him in Allen Park. That could work. Get a police escort, have the streets shut down. You're not leaving until you sign this contract to be our offensive coordinator for at least next season. So there you go. Don't actually, that's a joke, by the way, in case people don't actually lock him in, unless I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Am I kidding? Hey, YouTube, if you like clips like that, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. We've got live shows every Tuesday night. Hope to see you there.